All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Risen Esports' Dominate Premade League. This is going to be your Sunday cast. My name is Kyler Ketatano, and joining me on the desk is going to be my co-caster for the evening, Mr. Oh my God, I love saying your name. Hold on, this needs more hype than I can give it. Mr. Dylan Miyamo Big D Kleinven, and buddy, we're here. It's Sunday. It's Risen Dominate, and we are already in draft. How you feel?
I'm feeling pretty good, coming into this draft, excited to see how these two teams are going to play. They're two middle of the pack teams, but I mean, there's still a little bit of season to play. Both these teams definitely still in positions to make playoffs, and this is a pretty important match, right? 3-3, you need to start kind of differentiating yourself from the middle of the pack. You need to start getting up there, getting those wins in the win column, and trying to get yourself into those last playoff spots.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially when you're starting to look at how this league is shaping up, this is probably one of those games where you win this, you've got a pretty okay spot at you're going to be in playoffs. You lose this, now you start being in that question of, I don't know, can we make it? Can we get into that top part of the bracket? But either way, we are already fast and furious into these picks and bans with Akali, Lilia, and Senna being taken away from Team Vipers. And on the other side, a team
Ooh.
Boba Boys taking out the Graves, Caitlyn, Yumi. I wanted to talk about this, but these guys were so eager to get in draft that they already threw it in. But the Kindred first pick from Boba Boys, something that we actually found in our prep today.
Yeah, so looking at these picks right now, Dylan Wang is really, really good at this Kindred. Like, it is his most played by far. It's one of his highest win rate champs. And it's banned against him a lot. We were kind of going through, what do these teams play? What's banned against them? And we're kind of seeing themes that we were talking about earlier. Caitlyn is usually banned against VIP as well as an Enchanter support, and there's that Yumi ban. Then Kindred is usually banned against TBB. It's up, and they're gonna instantly lock it in the first two and pair that with that Lux, take away that Ashe Lux power. I wonder if that's gonna be a mid Lux or a support Lux.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see. I mean, we were talking about this that TVB does like to play a little bit more of these engage, hook. I'm a beefy boy. I'm gonna go in type of champion. So I think we can't write it off just yet as that being a mid lane Lux. I mean, it is still possible.
Yep.
Obviously, Lux support is kind of something we are seeing in the meta, but we do get to talk about the other side. The bot lane, more or less being locked in, is not a Lulu mid meta right now. So we can usually expect Ashe, Lulu down on that side. So a lot of, I think, shielding and protection overall that we're seeing coming out from Team Vipers. But curious to see what other things they've got in the tank because that is not a lot of damage just yet.
Yeah, there is not all too much damage on either side, really. I mean, if we're going to assume that this Lux is going to go towards the bot lane, most likely, and that set is going to opt towards the top lane, there's not really all too much damage coming out on both sides. Looking at these matchups, though, Ashe Lulu into a potential Lux bot lane, Lulu's going to be just fine into that. There's no real pressure. Maybe they're trying to bait that that's a Lux support, and then they're going to pick an engaged champion. Something like Nautilus, like Thresh, like Leona. Lulu does struggle into those because her main weakness is if you can get right on top of her, she's pretty easy to kill, but she's pretty good at keeping people alive if she can stay in the back and she can help just, support people up. But I don't know. I mean, that Shen top for VIP in the hands of Green Turtle Shell, it's looking like a really solid pick because this is usually banned against them, and I'd love to see a Hecarim ban come through for TVB, but they opt into banning Syndra. I see a world where VIP just locks in Hecarim. They've played the Shen Hecarim before, and they pair it with an Enchanter support, and it is such a dominating combo in the jungle.
Yeah, it's called a buff the pony. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
seeing this giant horse running at you with a ninja on his back. Like, I mean, that is a scary. He's got an arrow, by the way, like flying next to him
Yeah.
as they start that team fight. Like, that is a scary concept to think about. But to me, yeah, this does signal, right, with the Silas and the Syndra ban, a Lux, more likely than not, a Lux mid, because those are some of the counter picks of just, they have a little bit more prio, they have a little bit more kill pressure and zone control in
Yes.
some of the mages that we're seeing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like the Lux mid, although seeing the set Kindred grabbed up does kind of signal to me, I think that they're looking at taking away more champions from the side of Remix than they are looking at playing anything else. But overall, yeah, I think very, very likely here that we do see something along the lines of that in Hecarim, maybe the Nidalee, although a lot less likely. But I gotta agree with you, Big D, that it should be a fun time seeing just
Yeah.
this composition if we are as clairvoyant and if we are the fortune tellers that we propose to be. I'm really just trying to stall for time. Five
Let's see
seconds
it.
left on the clock. Give me a pony. Oh,
Okay.
that
Okay.
is
I mean,
not a
he
pony.
does play Kiana mid, so little bit surprising to see that. I can see that having a pretty decent time in Deluxe because if you can get on top of her, she is very squishy. You can pretty much just blow her up if you can manage to slam her into the wall. Still does leave room for that Hecarim jungle though, and Hecarim loves dive buddies. He's got the Shen ulting on top of him, and he's got Kiana who can also reach that backline easily. Karthus locked in for the jungle. Not a big fan of that, but they were probably thinking we need some magic, right? They already have Kiana mid, they already have Ashe ADC. Shen is a bit of magic damage, sure. Lulu's a bit of magic damage, but it's not all too much. They probably felt like they were lacking in that department. They lock in the Karthus jungle. It's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not bad. The Kindred ult does make Karthus' life a little harder later on into the game, and Echo is a great champion to pick here. I mean, Kiana struggles against wave clear because Kiana loves to shove and roam, and in addition to that, I mean, if Echo can get on top of these carries, he's got Lulu, Karthus, Ashe to blow up. Nobody can really survive a Fed Echo diving on top of them.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Lulu, you've got the Shen for maybe that shield and supportive line like we talked about. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how this composition from Vipers works out because this is, yeah, like we said, a lot of mixed reports, right? Mixed ideas that we're looking at from these champions here where, yeah, Kiana likes to roam or push and roam. Karthus likes to kind of power farm and become that late game just menace coming in from the jungle position. So it's not like we're expecting a lot of lane pressure. It's not like we're expecting the side of Vipers to be able to push themselves into an early game advantage, right? Whereas on the other side, Ezreal Lux, one of the greatest marquee poke and siege kind of bottom lane compositions you can put out. It's just a high damage, high range, high just in your face type of deal where they're not looking to engage on you. They're just looking to shove you in underneath your turret. And against the Karthus jungle, I think you're more than happy to
Yeah.
take that matchup because what are they going to do? Walk past your Tribrush? Like, easy money at that point.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this Ezreal and Lux face no real threat other than Kiana coming down bot lane, or maybe Shen ulting. I mean, as long as Ezreal, I don't even know if he has to up into cleanse. He might just because he's afraid of that arrow, but he does have that arcane shift to get out of dodge. Maybe we see Lux with cleanse. I mean, exhaust is pretty good this game against Kiana, but other than Kiana, you're not really exhausting anything. So we'll see what they opt down there in the bot lane, but yeah, there's no real kill pressure onto them. And I mean, Echo should be able to match any roam coming up from Kiana. Echo also loves to op into teleport. So Kiana with the ignite, Echo with teleport. Echo can just follow Kiana roams for free, assuming that cooldown is up. Then you have the Kindred into the Karthus in the jungle. I mean, Karthus will outfarm the Kindred for the most part, but Kindred is a better duelist. Kindred is a better ganker. So as long as Dylan's able to really punish that matchup and not just let the Karthus scale up for free, we should be able to see a pretty good early game coming out of TBB, and it's going to be hard for VIP to actually press forward in this game.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there, Big D. But I do want to play a little bit of devil's advocate here because let us think about this: that as the game goes on, right? Assuming Vipers is going to be able to get out of this laning phase, get out of the mid game, right? Once we hit about that 30, maybe even 35-minute mark, depending on how long it's taking them to scale up, that is when I feel like the Karthus comes online. That is when I feel the protect the Ashe becomes a little bit more feasible in the sense that, okay, they don't necessarily need to engage. They need to wait for TBB to make the play themselves. And then they use their Shen, their Lulu, to kind of kite back and keep the carries alive. Wait for them to come to us, basically, becomes, I think, the mentality of Vipers. And I'm
Yeah.
curious in what world do we see them getting out of the laning phase in a state where they can even start to contest some of those objectives?
Yeah, I think some key things to look out for in this early game is we have to see this Kiana, Dylan, we have to see him be mobile on this map. There is no winning the early game if Kiana's just staying in her lane and farming, so expect to see her try and find some windows to look towards top, to look towards bottom. I mean, you have the Shen, right? There is a world where you can kill this set top lane. You have the requisite CC, you have the requisite damage. So expect to see him move around the map. Other than that, though, it's mostly going to be farming. You're going to see this Karthus farm up towards level 6. You're going to see Shen farm up towards that level 6. this composition really spikes hard around that level 6 mark because once they get their ultimates, this team becomes really powerful. And expect to see them potentially fight a first dragon if it can be stalled out for that long at the 7-8 minute mark. I think that first dragon is going to be a really telltale sign of who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, that's always, I think, the fun thing to see the party in the bot lane, right? It doesn't matter where Karthus is. He pushes R at level 6. You've got a Shen ult to push. You could potentially have all 5 members be a part of a bot lane dive at, like you're talking about, that 7 or 8 minute mark. And that's going to be the tilter, right? That is a tilting thing. Although Lux can play pretty safe, that is, I think, the first major power spike we see it coming out of Vipers. And then after that, there's a huge drop off of huge, what we would call a power trough, right? Sitting there for the next
Yes.
20 minutes or so. I would assume, maybe not that long, but that might be exaggerating. But that is, I think, where we see them dip off, and that's where we see on the other side Boba Boyz. That's where their power spike really lies, I think. I mean, you're going to be looking at a Triforce on Ezreal, or potentially, if he's feeling cheeky for it, the Gauntlet, although I'm pretty certain into this matchup, we're expecting a Triforce, right? That's when the Lux starts to get some damage. That's when the set just says, all right, I've got some items, I can go in. And that's also when I think the Echo has a beautiful time just diving in and pushing R to get out.
Yep, I completely agree with all of that. I think it's important to look for TBB towards those 2 item spikes. You're looking at the Proto Belt and maybe Lichbane, maybe Zonia's for the Echo. You're going to see probably Triforce Mirror Mana for Ezreal. Set, he could opt towards tank. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to actually play this game because he has no ult target, really. I mean, because Shen is going to be side lane. So Shen's not going to be part of the initial 5v5. He's going to come in much later on. So who's he really ulting? I mean, maybe he looks for a flank and he can ult the Ashe or the Lulu. Might ult Kiana? I don't know. Set's going to be having a pretty tough time. I'd love to see him itemize more towards that tank set. And then, yeah, I mean, the rest of TBB just scales so well that at those 2-3 items, it's going to be hard to see a world where Vipers can really get things going if they don't have a strong early game.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that speaks to, I mean, obviously, whenever we see sets in the top lane or even in the jungle most times, that ability to find that flank is so critical. That ability to put somebody from the back line in the middle of the fight where they do not want to be, that is going to be the big thing we have to look for to to really win out from Elcan, because otherwise, yeah, the Shen will just be more useful than him as the game goes on. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, as they need to find the flank, we need to find our own time to regroup and recuperate, as we will be cutting to just a quick little bit of a break as we get synced up. But when we come back, game number 1 between the Vipers and Team Boba Boyz, you guys do not want to miss it. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, between the Risen Premade Dominate here in week number 6 of competition. My name is K-Ted. Joining me on the desk is Miyamo Big D, and we've got Vipers up against the Boba Boys in game number 1, and just like that, we are on the Rift.
Yeah, this should be a really exciting game. A lot of action at this level 1. Kindred in the set looking towards topside. But little do they know, Remix creeping in here on Karthus probably just wants a little bit of support to get a ward. But there is a world they find. Oh, it's so tense. If they just walked around that corner, that's probably a double kill, but looks like Dylan is going to be able to get out of dodge. Elkan just walking towards the top.
Yeah, you gotta love when you see teams opting for the let's go in and put vision together as a group
Yeah,
because this does signal out, and I think they'll be able. Both squads will know where the jungler is starting out. Obviously, Kindred on the top side, Karthus on the bottom side, or actually, yeah, he is going to be starting on the bottom. So a little bit of an interesting start. I mean,
yeah.
obviously, Remix opting for the help of his bottom lane for the leash, but you'd expect to see that you want Karthus to have that blue early on to just start spamming out those little skittles.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, both junglers pathing, honestly, because usually you see Karthus opt for more of a full clear in a world where you start at the blue buff and you just path straight down, just clearing every single camp in your way. And Kindred, I get that she wants to start red buff, but I mean, she has to think about where she's ganking, because you're not going to be able to gank bot lane. There's no way. Maybe you could look mid, but you're probably looking towards top, and that's why he's starting red buff. He's looking for a level 2 invade on Karthus' blue. This isn't spotted out by the ward that Remix put down earlier, so a little bit of a fight at the blue buff.
Oh yeah, there could be a little bit of a skirmish down there, looking to see if they will spot it, but there goes Dylan Wayne looking for the damage. Blue buff helping him out a little bit with the assist. Remix
Oh!
trying to hop back. First blood, and he gets the blue, but can he get out? The question and answer is no. Elkan not able to rotate first. Kiana forced to flash over the wall, but overall, I think you take that trade.
Yeah, I think blue side, I think they win out on that. I don't know. It's hard to say, right, because the Kindred does end up getting that experience lead, does end up getting that kill on the Karthus. But Kiana's coming into lane with double buffs, right? Dylan is loving that. He's down his flash, but this means he can pressure Echo so much harder. He can look for roam so much easier with that blue buff, constantly keeping his mana topped off, and I'd love to see how that pans out as this game continues.
Yeah, want to see what else that becomes or how else this plays out because yeah, not only does he have a blue, he got double buffs at level 2. Yeah, you burn your flash, but I think you wholeheartedly take that trade as Dylan there as he is just now allowed to put a little bit more pressure down onto Sai in the mid lane, although it does feel like Dylan Wang is just playing so aggressively right now, looking for counter jungle, knowing that he could look for
Ooh,
this counter gank. And right there, flash is already burned. They know they just got to
buff
get the auto attack
transfer!
in. And there it goes. Dylan West says, thank you, I'll take those back. And it's 2-1 on the board.
Yeah, 2 flashes ended up being burned there, but I think Team Boba Boys is plenty fine with that trade. Dylan ends up getting those double buffs back. He's going to counter jungle these Raptors, which actually just got marked by her passive, so this is looking pretty solid for Dylan. Let me just quickly pan over to him. There's no way. Okay, he's only at 2 stacks, so I thought he was already up to 3, but looks like he marked the Karthus and then he got that mark on the Raptor, so he's up at 2 stacks. Really solid early game from Dylan, and we see why this pick is banned from him all the time. He's just so damn good at it.
Yeah, I mean, just the ability, the confidence I think we're seeing coming out from him, the ability to say, I don't care where your Karthus is right now. I know I'm stronger and I know I'm going to look for the counter jungling, just the invading going on right now. Very, very well done from Dylan Wang. But overall, I mean, I think now at the back end of that, right, you think if you are on the side of Boba Boys, that is a favorable trade and the grand scheme of it all. Dylan Wang gets a refresh on his buffs. You actually end up getting that flash out of Dylan for almost nothing. The Ignite was also burned in that last exchange. So far, so good, as now they have a little bit of a gold lead. They have this pressure, and now I think it comes down to where does Dylan Wang want to keep putting the pressure in? Because look at this. He's still invading. He is living in the other side of the jungle right
Jumped
now.
over the wall. Yeah, I mean, this guy is invading the Krug camp. I think he stole it. I'm pretty sure he just smited it away. Yeah, he just ticked over to level 5. Remix stuck at level 3. Ticks over to level 4 with the mini Krug. Heavy
Oh,
trade in the bot lane.
Luxon, though, taking a lot of damage at Ordinary, looking like he wants to get a shot. That's
Oh.
almost a beautiful binding, but that means
Woo!
Clinique gets taken down in a trade. Support versus support, and the Lux comes out with it. Is now in the mid lane. Dylan looking for a little bit of damage, but here comes the TP around the backside. He looks like he wants to commit to the fight, but can he get
Dylan?
another auto attack? The turret is not going to help him out at all, and that is a shutdown in the mid lane. They don't give over an assist, but they still get the kill.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit over aggressive. I feel like as soon as that teleport gets channeled from Green Turtle, you just get the heck out of there if you're Dylan. You just back up. Maybe Shen Flash taunts you, but you're probably just out of there just fine. Ends up giving his life over, giving the shutdown over to this Kiana. And like we were talking about, Kiana needs to be mobile on this map. Mobility boots picked up with that shutdown gold. And hopefully she can get the shove in this lane. It's a bit hard, right? Because this Echo is working up that AP. He's got the Doran's Ring, he's got the Corrupting Pot, got the Dark Seal. He's going to be topped off, and he's going to be able to keep his mana just high enough. It's going to be hard for Dylan to really find roam windows to affect the sideline.
Yeah, and I want to see where if we track that, right, how many times does he leave lane now that he has committed the 900 gold to buying the mobility boots? He's committed that he is not going to have any other extra combat stats. These are literally just a purchase of how quickly can you leave your lane and move to another portion of the map. So something to track as the game goes on. Now, looking at this is what we expected. The early dragon gonna go over to Boba Boyz because of the fact that they have that early game priority. They have early game pressure. So nothing too crazy that we saw so far out of the grand scheme of things. But now I'm waiting to see Remix. He is so close to level 6. And this, like we talked about in Champ Select, the only time they might go for a play is actually Turtle Shell. A little bit of trouble. It's mostly just a trade of damage. Not going to die there, but yeah, so far so good from the side of Boba Boyz.
And Dylan is still in Remix's jungle, scaring him off this buff. But he's got to be careful. Kiana has mobility boots and is running down.
Yeah, Wall of Pain goes out. There's the
I think
arrows, but
dead.
Dylan is here. Flash over the wall from Remix. Dylan is going to go down. Over aggression is there, but now can the re-engage go out? There goes the ultimate there, but instead it's Sai picking up the first kill. He's going to hop back with the Chrono Break, trying to just stay alive. Here comes Shenot onto Dylan, but also the TP from Elcan. He's looking for some damage. Ordinary on the bottom side, trying to get another shot down. Look for the big haymaker coming out from Elcan next. There goes Clinique, going to fall next. Ordinary hopping back, trying to kite him back, but can Dylan get the root? Yes, it is. Flash forward. He's trying to get the damage. Auto attack will be good as he gets that kill, as now they re-engage, and it is just a bloody mess across the Dragon Pit. Taunt goes down. Elcan trying to escape, but it looks like Dylan is going to be forced to run for the hills. So many deaths, so much chaos,
Yeah.
and it is just disaster for both sides.
Yeah, let's take stock of what happened there. Set back into the game. He's got 2 kills. He's got an assist in his pocket. Dylan's going to be able to collect that top wave that's crashing. Actually, maybe it's going to freeze right in front of that tower. Let me pan up. Yeah, that's going to be a perfect freeze setup for Elcan. So he's going to be able to collect almost that entire wave. Shen lost his ultimate. That's going to be a very long cooldown and only got 2 assists out of it, right? Although it was a pretty much even trade in kills, Dylan is fed on the side of Vipers, whereas Ordinary picks up that early man immune, and Elcan getting ever closer to that Blade of the Rune King. That's the real tipping point in this Shen Set matchup. Once that Blade of the Rune King is completed, Set can really start bullying out the Shen and looking for those all-in kills on him.
Yeah, and I mean, that I think is one of the big storylines to take away from that. Yeah, Dylan dies early. Yeah, Dylan doesn't get any more gold out of it. But his laners come out ahead out of everything from that fight. Now, looking at it here, that big play we were talking about, that level 6 all-in play that we were looking at. I mean, Remix wasn't even 6 in that last fight. Keep that in mind. He flashed over the wall at level 5 to make sure they got the kill on the Kindred. But in the punish, it ends up hurting them in the grand scheme of the team fight, as now in the mid lane, there's looking like they want to get a flank off, but again, not too much damage going down. So overall, everyone just backs away.
Yeah, I really am not liking what I'm seeing from Remix so far on this Karthus. Seems like he's not all too comfortable on the champion. If you're ever going to go for a gank, it has to be 100%. Otherwise, you're just better off spending your time farming, spending your time counter jungling. Ends up going towards the mid lane. You're not killing this Echo with his ultimate. I'm sorry, but at this point, with the Seeker's Arm Guard completed, and your Kiana only having Tiamat and mobility boosts, there is no world where you have enough damage. So you're better off a little bit of an all-in.
Supreme display of talent, yeah, in the mid lane. Sai wasn't tanking the turret, so not going to mean much.
Yeah.
Alright.
Interesting. Dylan looking towards mid, looking towards bot. But as I was saying, I mean, if you're going to go anywhere, it has to be somewhere where you can get a kill. Elcan was trading heavily up in that top lane. The wave is still in a bad spot. So if you're going to look somewhere, it should be top, but it's looking like he's coming to counter gank bottom.
Looking like he wants to get some down, but there goes, and there it went. As the ultimate goes up, but now on the bottom side, the arrow is actually
Ooh.
going to go wide. Huge damage onto Clinique. There goes the Kindred
Kindred
ultimate,
ult!
just trying to keep alive Suman there, but actually the heal might be enough. He flashes back out. They don't have enough damage. Clinique dropped to just little bits of numbers and health right there as he's trying to get out now. They want to chase it out, but Remix does not have the damage, so everyone just going to handshake their lives as an agreement. But overall, positive trade for Boba Boyz. Flash forward from Luxion. Does not get the kill. Supreme Display of Talent also going to miss in the mid lane. It's just fighting back and forth. Wall of Pain goes out. There isn't much damage. Actually,
No
that
way.
might be enough for the Kindred. Oh
Woo!
my god. He
That's
lives
close.
that. That
That
is
is very
just
close.
heartbreaking for the Remix.
Yeah, that is really, really hard for Remix. That Karthus ult, ooh, little bit of a trade
Whoa.
here.
Okay, we're just not done. We're just going to keep fighting it outside. Does not have mana, but there
Baited
is the
in!
Shen ultimate. They're trying to get him around, but he had enough for the jump, but the flash taunt comes out from Turtle Shell, looking like they want to
Oh
go for
no!
the dive, but they will not have the health bars, so Sai makes it out alive. And again, they burn the Shen out for nothing.
Yeah! I mean, Shen ult, he's losing 2 plates top lane, maybe a third if Elcan decides to stay for this one. They lost Karthus ult for nothing. I mean, it's just looking really, really hard right now. They're burning all their global ultimates, and they're not really getting anything in return.
Yeah, I mean, scoreboard is being a little bit deceptive right now, right? 5 to 8 on the board, but that is a 4,000 gold lead, and a lot of that sits to the plates, right? Just looking at it, there is not a single plate dropped on the side of Boba Boys, whereas on the other side of the map, it's 2-3-3 on the board. There's just so much damage going across, and that is a worrying concern to me because now they can't even contest this dragon. It's already gone.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, you'd think this Kiana's ahead, right? 4 kills, she got double buffs in the early game, but if you look over at the gold, Sai is right there even with her actually 100 gold ahead. So it just, story is lost 2 plates in the mid lane, down almost 40 farm. I mean, the Karthus is not farming, the Kiana's not farming, and they're losing top hard because Green Turtle had to burn that Shen ultimate, that Stand United. He had to burn it twice defensively, and he got nothing out of it. So it's looking pretty dire for the side of Viper.
Yeah. So, like we said, that dire time. This is their power trough as once again Showstopper comes out. Elcan looking like he wants to chase Turtle Shell down. Needs to get that block up. Haymaker gonna go just a little bit wide, but that was almost a solo kill up in the top side.
The dive.
More turrets. Here comes the 4-man. Goodbye and good night. Whereas on the top side, it's a 3-man on the other side as they just bully out onto the side lanes from both teams. But overall, I think you take that if you're Boba Boys.
Yeah, it's hard because you're down 4,000 gold at this game, or at this point. So you're not really looking to trade evenly. You have to find windows to punish wherever you can. And they end up identifying that, you know, maybe our bot lane's going to get dove. So why don't we just go up towards the top side? They end up burning Elcan's flash. They get the shutdown onto him. Karthus gets a little bit of gold into his pocket. They get the Herald. But I don't really think this Herald's going to mean anything because the plates are falling, so they're not going to get tower plate gold. At best, they're going to get about half damage on a tower. It's just looking pretty hard right now.
Look at that health
Oh
on,
no,
the, on the
Suman.
plate. Suman, not like this. The Channel Crystal Arrow goes out, but because it's so close, the stun range is not there. And Dylan Wang picks up his 3rd of the game, but oh my god. It is just a game of feels bad man moments if you are on the side of Vipers. As now here comes Stand United.
Another
Dylan
Stand
Wang
United.
gonna hop down onto the ultimate. They're looking to burn the health bars. Taunt goes out. Dylan Wang gonna go down. Final Spark not gonna pick up the kill. So they get a 1 traded back, but it is a 1-for-1 in the grand scheme of things. But not a terrible play if you're a Vipers fan.
Yeah, definitely not terrible. I thought that Stand United would end up not really meaning too much with the Kindred ultimate, but they end up getting the kill. They end up getting some gold in their pocket. Shen getting some much needed gold. Doesn't really have all too much to work with. He's got the Ninja Tabby. He's got the Bramble Vest. He's got a couple of Ruby Crystals. Bit of a garage sale going on here. Elcan's just going to keep looking for these trades, though. Walks forward with the Blade of the Rune King.
Look at that damage.
Yeah, I mean, one more trade like that, and the Shen's dead, right? The Shen's W is on a very, very long cooldown. So if Elcan can look to find windows in between that, he can look for.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we're talking about, right? It is going to be the sole point dragon coming up where now the priority is going to be a little bit of a scary thing. If you let this next one go, well, 6 minutes after that, that is the Infernal Soul for a team that does a lot of damage. So something worth keeping an eye on for them is Vipers. I think they gotta give up this next drag, but man, they are looking really, really desperate if that's the case as time goes on.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, if they walk up and they contest this dragon, they don't really have their ultimates ready. I mean, the Shen ult is not going to come out. The Karthus is not in a strong enough spot where that ult's going to really mean anything. He's not level 11. He doesn't really have any AP. It's just hard. And their bot side jungle is not there. So they're going to have no vision. They're going to have no control, and they're not strong. So it's a bit hard to figure out what to do. If I were them, I'd probably give this dragon and look to make a play towards top lane. They did burn Set's Flash earlier. You can probably get the tower as well. But kind of seems like they don't really know what to do. Dragon spawning in a minute, and they have absolutely zero setup.
I do love the way that Boba Boys have also rotated around their bottom lane here, and by putting, I think, both of them in the mid lane. And oh, actually, wait a minute, Dylan trying to force out this tower dive. Dylan forcing himself out. There goes the chrono break. Side gets out, so nobody else goes down as turret shot still ticking away. Not gonna mean a whole lot of damage though, as Dylan Wing trying to hop over, tries to turn it on to Remix, gets
What?
popped in the face before he can hit the Kindred ultimate, as now Ordinary trying to get out of him and cover the retreat from Psy. As I'm trying to praise them, they end up doing the weird plays as now Taunt comes down off the showstopper in the top lane. Turtle Shell taking a lot of damage. Haymaker is there. Elcan might actually look for the dive, but he backs off instead. So, all right. Thoughts
Yeah,
on that one, Big D?
I mean, that actually means a lot in this game because with Dylan Wang dying, that might be Infernal Drake over to the side of Vipers. Seems like the Boba boys want to get in there and they want to contest this. Karthus is not there quite yet. The junglers are going to make it at a pretty similar time. There's going to be about a 5-second difference.
Uh-oh.
Keep your eye on Kiana. She has to carry this team fight for a team, and the Karthus ult is still up, so they
Yeah.
can win the fight.
Arthur's ult is up, Dragon at 2k health. Side trying to kite back to the left side. Final Spark not able to steal it. That might be a big Dragon, but can they get out is the question. Team fight about to begin. Side looking for the damage. Remix already getting dropped, but he's in the middle of the entire fight. Dylan Wayne
Getting the
hops
Kindred
forward.
ult!
There goes the ult, but no, the Lambs spike comes down at the very last second. Turtle Shell gonna find the shutdown onto the Ezreal here, but he will not escape with his life, as that is 4 members down in Trade of the Dragon. Not sure if it's worth, but hey, they at least got the objective.
Yeah, I mean, they did end up getting that dragon. Smart for the Boba boys to identify that if we just keep chasing, they burned a lot of their tools in that initial engage that ended up killing Kindred. So they were able to just chase them down, extend their gold lead over 7,000. But the important thing is that the Vipers bought themselves 6 minutes. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they bought themselves 6 minutes of extra time.
Whoa,
Ooh, nice
supreme
little one
display
shot.
of talent. Yeah, that's the one hit. Takes down Dylan Wing for being aggressive where there's nobody else to support him. He
Yeah.
wanted the mark, but
I mean, that's
no
like the
help.
theme of this game. He's died 6 times. How many of those deaths are really necessary, right? I'd argue that maybe 1 or 2 of them was actually beneficial or like happened in a fight where he couldn't really control it. The other ones are just him over aggressing, whereas, somebody like Sai, only 1 death, Ordinary, only 2. The rest of his team is playing pretty cleanly, but he's giving up a lot of windows of opportunity for the side of Vipers, and they're looking towards Sai in the side lane.
Yeah, here we go. Taunt comes out. Wall of Pain is there,
Remix
but
is
Sai
dead.
trying to turn it onto Remix instead. Chrono Break gets used, but Sai just pops him with the Hex Tech Proto Belt and just walks away for free, saying, "Thank you very much. I'll take that and have a
Yeah.
good day."
That's the hard part about playing Karthus. You need to be ahead for this champion to really do what he wants to do, and on top of that, you're incredibly weak to champions that can just get on top of you. Right? He's good into champs like Set. He's okay into champs like Ezreal and Lux, but he is just terrible into things like Echo, things that can just get on top of him and can one-shot him. Karthus has no ability to respond because he's got no hard crowd control. He doesn't really have burst damage, right? It's a lot of just overtime damage. An Echo ultimate can dodge out of the Karthus ultimate. It's going to be very hard for Remix to avoid that, but he's gonna have to if they actually want to win this game, because the more he dies to Psy, the more he looks towards the side lane and gives up his own life, the more Magi stacks go over, the more gold goes in Psy's pocket, and it's gonna be getting only harder from.
Yeah, he does become a very scary Echo as the game state is shaking out. 11 stacks on the book right now as he's looking pretty dangerous overall, but so far, with no inhibitor turrets having dropped just yet. Oh no, Sai look like he's gonna stop the back of Green Turtle Shell. There is the auto attack block. Taunt goes down, Remix is here, but he does have Chrono Break and he's gonna
Yeah.
use it. There goes the
Ooh, he
Enchanted
dodges
Crystal.
it.
Ow, but it's missed. Yeah, Turtle Shell looks like he wants to continue the chase, but hey, they are okay with this as the Boba Boys, as they already have Elcan down in the bottom lane, pushing that wave into the inhib turret. So gold lost across the map for what was an aggressive play off of Psy.
Yeah, I don't really like that they're constantly targeting this Echo. They don't really have the crowd control or the burst damage to kill him. Maybe if Kiana's there and can get on top of him. But even then, I mean, the Zhonya's Hourglass is coming in very soon. He's going to be able to negate a lot of Kiana's damage. You're better off looking towards the set. He's going to have a pretty hard time surviving that, but he's looking for the flank.
Oh, there it is. There goes the showstopper coming in. Shen Taunt was already used. The San United is there, but Dylan on the backside looking like he wants to get some damage out. Luxan not going to be going down. Remix still has his health bar for now, but is he going to suicide for it? Yes, he does. Ordinary gets that kill as here comes the Karthus ultimate. Ordinary is going to go bye-bye as Elcan now on the run. This was actually a huge fight for Vipers as Turtle Shell not able to chase it out. 3 for 3 across the board.
Yeah, I mean, the Vipers are down 10,000 gold going into that fight, and they managed to even it out 3 for 3. That is very, very impressive. I mean, a bit of an overstep, right? Elcan looking for that flanking goal. They end up blowing up Suman on Ashe. Psy's not done,
There we
yo.
go. Sai, yeah, might not have a way out of this one just yet.
Oh,
Turtle Shell trying to chase back Clinique, trying to get the slow, but there is the hop and the damage comes out. Sai now 2v1. Elcan wants to get in range, but not able to get the hit. But actually, the taunt comes back because the crystal arrow goes out. But that's a beautifully timed chrono break as now Sai taking a lot of damage. But there's the shutdown. There goes the pages out the book. Elcan gets dropped, and with Dragon spawning in 15 seconds, huge play for the side of Vipers.
yeah, this is huge. I mean, they're down their ultimates, but they do have the numbers advantage going into Dragon. Shen has teleport. Expect to see him use it to get towards this Infernal. It's going to be really
they
hard.
still
Dylan getting
want
picked
blood.
off.
Yeah, Dylan gets hit with the wall of pain, has to burn the Lamb's Respite, trying to kill out Remix. But if he just gets taken
Oh my
down,
god.
that could be worse. That could be Dragon and a Baron, Big D.
Yeah, I mean, the Baron's a little bit hard because the death timers at this point are still a bit too short to look towards that objective without a few more kills, but... Oh my god!
Oh no!
Okay, that's actually huge because that does mean that they're now on Soul Point, and if Vipers were able to get that, they would be able to stall out this game another 5-6 minutes. Give that card this time to reach one item, or one more item, give time for Ashe to reach 2 items, but now time's up. You got 5 minutes. Whatever you can find in 5 minutes, that's it. I mean, you're not getting anything more than that, and that's going to be the game-ending fight, right? Either the Boba Boys get it, and Infernal Soul with all these poke champions is too hard to overcome. Oh, Remix. Oh, no.
Remix. He's found a set in the bush, flashes out, just trying to escape, but the showstopper comes down, dunks him in the back rope, but
Oh my god.
whoa! What was that damage from
I blinked. What happened?
He's gone, basically. He pushed Control-Alt-Delete on him, said, all right, end task, and there was set.exe gone off the map. Turtle Shell now trying to get out of range. Taunt is there, but instead, the rest of the team trying to chase him out. Turtle Shell sitting in
Can
his
they kill
block
him?
for now.
Lulu's
they might
closed.
be able to kill him. Yeah, they try to
Oh.
get out. Clinique not able to get in range in time means that he gets dropped, but all right, that's a lot to unpack. Have fun with it, D.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we see Karthus go down. I mean, these junglers are just playing sloppy, right? And we see 6 deaths on the Karthus, we see 8 deaths on the Kindred. Also, I mean, little bit of a side note, but not a fan at all of this Kindred's build. Rushing Essence Reaver. I know he mains Kindred, so probably knows a little bit better than I do, but I just don't really see how that's the correct item in this scenario. But anyways, I mean, 8 deaths on Dylan. He's not playing all too clean. We saw him go into the jungle in the early game and really dominate Remix, but Remix has been making it happen as this game continues. Close that farm lead. He's been closing that gold lead. He's only down 1,500 gold, right? At some point, he was down about 2,500, 3,000 gold. So those shutdowns and those extra camps going into his pocket has helped him out a lot. He's going to be pretty strong going into this next fight, but I don't know. It just seems hard because Sai is so fed that if he finds the correct angle, and Ordinary as well has 3 items. He just hit that Death Stand spike. If we compare these 80 carries, it is night and day. It's going to be very hard for Vipers to find a correct angle to fight this fight at, but they're going to have to do it if they want to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think this reflects back to one of the points we were making earlier after that steal, is that had the side of Vipers finished off that last dragon, all right, well, now this becomes a much more feasible way for them to win. Oh, remix. Wrong jungle buddy, as here comes Dylan
Yeah.
on the side looking for the damage. They will get the stun onto him, but they're in the Lamzer fight. Here comes the showstopper on the backside, but instead they're looking for the final spark. Not able to get the damage.
Oh, he
Kunik
can't
trying
get
to stay
anyone!
alive, but he got kited back around. It's a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day, as we don't even get a time to analyze the game, Big D.
Yeah,
They
I
just
mean,
like to fight.
The key thing to note is that Echo did just stay in that side lane. He has the Lich Bane, ends up taking it down a turret and taking half HP off the other. Looking pretty huge for Echo right now. He's getting a lot of gold. I mean, he's up only 1,000 gold at this point, so that gold lead has closed. Taunt misses. He should be able to just walk on out of here. Wait, Baron started up for Boba Boyz.
Oh no, nobody's in range. Dylan, or not, yeah, Dylan's not even gonna be able to get there
They
in
get the
time. They
bad
see it
news.
on the hawk shot, and yep, there it went. The 10,000 gold lead about just sitting in the pockets of the Boba Boys. And alrighty, that is the tool. If you're looking for how you want to end the game out, step 1, Baron, step 2, Infernal Soul, and I think step 3, end the game.
Yeah, you're completely right. I mean, with this composition, expect to see them break out into a 1-3-1. Sai should be taking blue buff and then heading towards bot lane because he has no TP, whereas Elkan goes up towards the top lane because he does. They're going to look to get some vision around this dragon area, maybe in the red side jungle of Vipers. And then they're just going to look to pinch, right? Expect to see Echo come in on a flank, maybe with a set teleporting right on top of him. And it's going to be very hard for Remix without Flash to actually find an angle to get in there and to get a steal. They're going to have to look for a fight beforehand.
Yeah, oh, actually, this might be the fight, as here comes Luxion. He's going to get dropped very, very
Kindred
low.
ult.
The Kindred ultimate is there, and actually they turn it around onto Dylan. Now Sai on the left side trying to get in. It does burn Remix first. Gets the first kill, looking for the ultimate there. Will pick up the kill onto the Lux at the back end of it all. Here comes the taunt, here comes the polymorph, but the
He's
dive
stunned.
comes back up.
Oh.
Sai manages to get the chrono break, as here comes Elkan. Trying to get the showstopper, trying to get the stun. He lands it onto 2 as True Shot Barrage comes over from the left. As now they're looking for a little bit more damage. Turtle Shell will get dropped, and the rest of the squad forced to run. Flash comes back out, and with 4 members healthy and with a Baron buff, they could look to end the game right here, right now.
Yeah, bit of a split decision. They're opting to send Dylan towards the Infernal Dragon. I don't think they could have ended if they tried. It's a bit hard, right? If it was a full ace, I think they should have stayed and ended. But I think they're going to try and get 2 inhibs and the Infernal Soul. We'll see if that double dipping will end up hurting them.
Well, they got 1. They can't see if they want to get the second, but it looks like, yeah, that mid lane inhibitor will stay alive. Mid lane is open right now, but let's talk about that, because oh my god, Dylan was robbed of that
Yeah.
kill.
Yeah, I mean, that shield comes out at the perfect time. Dylan not able to find that full-on one-shot onto Lux. That actually means a lot, right? Because Lux ends up living in the back line, gets off her ultimate, gets off a couple more shields before Karthus takes her out. It's just so hard. Oh, he's looking for the
they
one-shot. Oh,
found the
man.
Kindred.
Ooh!
He gets the kill. Wait
No
a
way.
minute. Will he get out? Stand United is there. Ordinary hops over the
Wait.
wall, but he's found the
He's
ship.
dead.
He's got no way out. He's going to go down. He has to burn it back over, as now Sai comes into the mix as he's looking for the stun, gets it onto 1. It's a double kill for the Echo. Remix trying to kite this out, has the Ash, and the big
The
crit
arrow?
comes out. That is a kill. That is a shutdown. It is a 2 for 2, and somehow Vipers are still in it.
Yeah, right when you think they're out of it, they always manage to get a kill or 2 and get their grip in a team fight. It's just amazing. I mean, Dylan manages to sneak that kill away. Clinique just blown up on the Lulu, but Suman might get caught out.
Elkan wants to dive it, but here comes the taunt. There goes the
Oh, wow.
showstopper, but he is underneath the turret. Turtle Shell would like to get a few more auto attacks. Big Haymaker gets the damage out. That means Turtle Shell won't get a kill. But yeah, Suman going down means there's no AD carry on the map for a little while. But with no other objectives. Oh, Ordinary might actually get flanked here. Looking for it. He wants to at least get the inhibitor.
Oh
He
no.
knows he needs this. Looking for it.
Oh
Finally will get it. But trades his life, trades over even more gold. I believe that was a shutdown. Yes, it was. And all right, with that said, it's still a 10k gold lead, Big
yeah.
D. But I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't know.
if this game can continue on for 10 more minutes somehow, that gold lead will start to actually dwindle in its meaning. But for now, it actually means a lot, right? We're looking at an Ezreal that's about to complete his 4th item, whereas Ashe is on 2.5. Lux has 3 completed support items, and at this point, she's probably just going to be chilling on those. It is a pretty insurmountable lead for the side of Vipers, but they're holding on, right? They still have hope. Shen does have 3 items. Karthus has 3 items. There is a world where if they get a miracle fight, they can win.
Oh my god, Dylan looking for the damage onto Dylan Wang, but Dylan knows he has the sustained
Oh
damage. This
no.
might be the disaster play that comes out. Elcan wanting to chase it down. Here comes Sai, but they get the taunt before they can get any more damage out. Chrono Break goes out as now Dylan's forced to get popped.
He didn't
Actually,
ult!
the crit is there. Lamazer's Sprite does not come down. Haymaker is enough damage. Now can
Suman!
Suman get the kite? Yes, he does.
Oh no.
Oh,
What?
oh
Huh?
my god. He just stood still. He was
Did
taunting. I don't know what he was
Did
doing.
he
I think he
disconnect?
was
I don't know.
taunting.
Like, what? He
Oh
just
my
stood
god.
still after the kill. I mean, this game
Oh.
is so back and forth. It's just so... It's so unbelievable that the Boba Boys have not found a way to close out this game. They're just not really playing that discipline, right? They don't want to just break into a 1-3-1, tear them apart slowly, and let the minions do the work. Instead, we're looking at a game that's about to hit 60 kills in 30 minutes. These teams just love to fight, and it's actually giving Vipers a way back into this game, whereas otherwise they would just instantly...
Yeah, I mean, cleanliness was not the name of the game here. These guys are going back and forth. It's a bloody, bloody brawl. Anytime you hit that around the 2 kills per minute mark, it is always a scary, although entertaining game.
Yeah,
I do want to say Baron comes up in 26 seconds. Sai has 15 pages in the book. He is a dangerous threat that I don't feel like the side of Vipers has found an answer for. They only get the kill off of him last fight because he burns Chrono Break early.
yep.
And this is scary propositions because that Baron is looking oh so juicy for the Boba Boys.
Yeah, it is very...
Oh,
Oh, God. I mean, I always think it's going to be it, and then it's never it, so we'll end up seeing if they can find anything. Looks like
run,
Klinique is
Lulu.
caught out too. That's
Goodbye, my
tough.
friend. Yep.
I mean, luckily, we're probably going to see the Boba Boys just secure the Baron that they were going to get anyway. So those 2 kills end up just being a little bit of gold. Nothing really meaningful comes of it. If they can pick up this kill, that's nice. But it just buys them a little bit of
Oh,
time. Ooh,
yeah.
nice
Crystal
arrow.
from down across the way, looking for a few more shots. Remix not willing to commit to it, as now here comes the showstopper, but instead not able to get the stun, not able to get
That's
the
big.
kill. Oh,
Oh.
final spark.
Oh.
They burned the Stand United as well, just to get Green Turtle Shell back in the base with the shield. But that is absolutely wild, because that's a man down.
Yeah, it's going to end up being a 5v4, and the only ultimate that's going to be down is the Ash Arrow and the Stand United. Karthus popping ult early, wants to probably dissuade them from coming in. Ends up being shielded, though. Don't really
Requiem
like...
with some
Oh my
damage, but
God.
Dylan has to get burned with the wild growth as here comes Sai. They're looking for damage on the turtle shell. This is the fight inside the base.
Snowman.
Ramsey's fight goes down, but there is the true shot barrage with the snipe. They're just trying to get damage across, but Sai dives way too far forward, dives to the turrets as now Dylan is up. Watch your eyes on the Kiana, looking for the damage, not able to get it inside the Shen damage though. Dylan can't get the auto attack. There goes the big hit from the Inferno. Clinique
Oh my
is
God.
here with the shields, but it is a 2-on-3 right now inside the
Two-man.
base. The taunt is huge as here comes the TP around the backside. Ordinary trying to 1v1, but
Oh, no.
Elcan has other eyes in his sights. Pulls him back in. Showstopper is there. Ash is gone. This is Boba Boys finally closing it out, or is it? Turtle Shell is still alive, but the Nexus is going to drop. Finally, at the end of it all, game 1 goes over to the Boba Boys.
Yeah, I mean, it took about, I'd say, maybe 10, 15 minutes too long. But I mean, you can never complain about a game that ends with 70 kills in 30 minutes. That was an exciting game to watch. Glad to see that the Boba Boys could come out with it in the end, because they did just play that early game so well. Dylan had really, really good pathing on Kindred. But I mean, there is hope for Vipers, right? They did show that despite their atrocious early game, where they're down like 4 or 5,000 gold very early on, they can come back. You know, they can fight. Dylan on that Kiana was a bright spot. Green Turtle Shell played that Shen incredibly well. Right, I would have liked to see a Hecarim come in for remix, but still, we saw that Shen do work. I do need to see Suman and Clinique step it up. They got their comfort champions, but they didn't really do anything with it. So we need to look towards them improving in game two.
Yeah, I mean, in a high tempo game as that was, I mean, granted, Ash, not the greatest of champions when playing in that scenario, right? High tempo is a hard thing to keep your eyes on, as you know, I mean, you just, because what are you going to do, right? You have a R that in the first two stages of the game, it takes a lot of time. That is a big cooldown to be burning. And so, yeah, gotta agree. I want to see them step up in the game moving forward in terms of laning phase, but overall, let's give credit to where credit is due. I mean, Sai was a monster. Dylan Wing definitely was maybe running it down a little. I think we are safe to say that, you know, he gave over a lot of deaths, but still, Sai was absolutely crazy with the amount of damage he was putting out that game.
Yep, completely agree. Completely agree. It's going to be an exciting game two to get into.
Yeah, so with that said, ladies and gents, we will cut to just a short little bit of a break. But when we come back, game number 2 between Vipers and the Boba Boys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to Risen Esports' Premade Dominate League. Once again, my name is Kyler K-Tad Tannel. Joining me on the desk is going to be my co-caster, the man, the myth, the legend. You've heard about him. You ladies, you keep your daughters away from him. It's Dylan Miyamo, Big D Kleinven, and all right, buddy, we had a banger of a game one, and now we're already into pick and ban for game number two.
Yeah, they're flying through this one. Love to see that Kindred band get that out of Dylan's hands. Played super well in game one with that. But the Boba boys throwing the same two bands up. Graves, Caitlyn. Says a lot that they're banning Caitlyn on blue side. Means that they probably haven't been practicing it. They're not too comfortable with it. Lux band thrown out. Seems just like they're kind of banning what the Boba boys picked last game. And Yumi, that means 3 same bands for them, and then we'll see what VIP rounds he's out with. I mean, if they're willing to ban out something like the set, it's just the 3 champs that were played last time for the Boba boys. We'll see though. Last time they banned Akali, Lilia, Senna, so it might be one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I think so far we're seeing a little bit of a switch up of the bans. I definitely agree with the Vipers not allowing that Kindred to go through again. I think that's a smart pick considering just how confident, right? Whether or not you agree with how many times he died on it, Dylan Wang was just an absolute monster in the beginning phases of that game.
Yeah, I completely agree. He played the early game super well, got off a few crucial invades that set Karthus behind, and he was never able to recover. So the Ash Band coming in for VIP. We'll see what TBB. This would make sense, right? Senna's kind of that last of the top 3 ADCs that are left up. Caitlyn banned, Ash banned. Most teams will respond to this with something like Jhin. You can also opt into a hyper carry, and VIP does love to put their ADC onto a hyper carry with their support on an enchanter. There's the Shen. I want to see it paired with Hecarim this time. I don't know why they went for Karthus, and I don't know why they went for Kiana. They could have just done Orianna Hecarim. It's what they've ran before. So this should be something similar to that. We'll see though if they opt into ADC or if they hold that off for later.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think, right, Turtle Shell on the Shen, not a bad idea, right? He had a pretty good game with it. It feels like the experience he is experienced on the champ, so I do agree with that pickup so far. But yeah, I mean, when you see the Senna on the other side already, you already should have an idea that all right, it's like okay,
I
we
love it.
know what we're playing into, and just like that, the Jinx comes in. Okay, that is a decision.
Yeah, I mean, for the team that I play for, my collegiate team, our ADC is also a bit of a Jinx player, and he says that he loves this Senna matchup because it's just a farm lane, and that's exactly what Jinx wants, right? Senna has poor wave clear, whereas Jinx has access to those rockets for the AoE wave clear, and I'd love to see maybe a 3-pick Lulu. Jinx Lulu is very strong, and that's a smart pick, right? You have the Shen ult, you're probably going to have a Lulu shield. So banning away that Blitzcrank is going to be good because Blitzcrank is good into all the Enchanter support. They might pivot into a Morgana though. I would like to see that. It is in Clinic's champion pool. That would kind of negate a little bit of what this Blitzcrank wants to do. He does still have access to that ultimate, which is going to stop the Shen shield. It's going to stop that Morgana shield. We'll see what he picks up though.
Yeah, curious to see what the decision making is because yeah, I mean when you see the Jinx, you think as the Blitz or as Boba boys, it's like all right, immediately this is a free hook. I mean Jinx doesn't have escapes. She's got some range, but hey, that's okay because we just hook her and we kill her. But I'm seeing, I mean overall, let's look at the rest of these picks because Akali and Silas getting picked up.
Yeah.
It screams comfort from both of these sides here to me.
Yes, it definitely does. We'll probably see that matchup in the mid lane. I have a hard time thinking that these are going to go towards the side lanes. And Silas is picked into Akali mostly because he can just steal her ultimate, and he becomes a little bit of a better Akali as soon as he has access to that because he's got that the Kingslayer to heal himself up, and he just has a little bit more tools to get onto the backline. But it is hard to dive back onto a Senna, right? If you can get on top of her, it's good, but she's got that Shroud, she's got her Snare to keep you at bay, and the matchup itself is not really favored towards one side or the other. It's pretty volatile, I'd say. So keep an eye out for what these junglers opt to pick up and what they opt to.
Yeah, want to see what else comes out because yeah, with a lot of the comfort being banned away from the junglers, to me this speaks a lot to the idea of all right, what is going to be left on the table at the end of the day, because with Rek'Sai, Kindred, Lilia, Hecarim, Jarvan, Graves, all of these jungle pans off the table, I'm looking at our sheet right now, Big D, and I'm just like, well, it's left. Well, all right. I mean, that's gone. That's gone. Set,
Yeah.
surprisingly, is the contested pick, I feel, at this point. Okay,
Huh.
let's talk about this, though, before we get into what we think is going to be in the jungle, because I'm sure we'll see it in just a little while. The Taric pickup for the side of Vipers. Bold move, Cotton, as some would say. I am
Yeah.
not sure. If, I mean, maybe, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Tarek, there is the argument that if Blitzcrank hooks in Tarek and he's not just instantly one-shot, that's arguably good for Tarek because then it brings the stun on top of the Blitzcrank and on top of anyone that's with him. You can also bring that Cosmic Radiance with you and just bind it with the Jinx. This is a protect the Jinx comp, right? There's no real damage coming out from other people. I mean, Silas will offer a little bit, but the Shen and the Tarek, that's not any damage. All the junglers left up, we're looking at stuff like Trundle, Olaf, maybe Echo Jungle. I mean, there's not really a ton of damage options. Renekton picked up for the Boba Boys as well as Kayn. We talked a little bit about the Kayn before the stream. It's an interesting pick, an especially interesting blind pick, but Dylan seems to like the Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, curious to see how this works out, because, yeah, looking at this here, it's a protect the Jinx composition into an Akali, Renekton, and now a Kayn. Like, if there is anything, you know what I mean, if anything goes wrong, if he is mispositioned by an inch, it is going to be absolutely chaos for the side of, really, I mean, Sumin. He's gonna have a problem. He's gonna have a hard time finding himself some space in these team fights. But I am curious to see. Oh my god, it's a River Shen.
It's happening.
It's a River Shen.
Unless there's a world where it's Tarek jungle and Shen bot, but it's probably the Shen jungle coming out with that last pick cannon. I like it. I like it because it's going to negate a lot of what Kayn wants to do, because Kayn just kind of farms up. Shen can farm not quite as fast, but once you get that Cinderhulk, you're going to be farming just about as fast as the Kayn. You can match any play he goes for with the Stand United. You obviously win the skirmishes in the river against him. It's a solid pick in theory, right? And Dylan on Kayn, he's not going to be able to go in and just invade free because he's not going to be winning those 1v1s, and he also doesn't really have insane push in any of them.
I mean, this is the thing I love about seeing Shen jungle, right? Is that it's a pick that we have not really seen over the years, like in any meta. It's not something that's been prevalent at any different time. It's not something that we generally saw ever. So a lot of these matchups, I feel, are very much like, who knows? We're excited to see what happens. How does it play out? Because I completely agree with you. Shen being able to block your auto attacks at the early levels is dangerous. Is dangerous in a one-on-one. And when you think about how Kayn based, his strength is in the early game. His strength is in those early game stats, where his AD is higher than any other base champ in the game. At least that's what was previously the stat. I don't know if that has changed since. It is a dangerous prospect to think that your early game ganking jungler, right, in Kayn, can be negated by a very defensive and a very well scaling jungle pick.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this Shen is kind of that wild card that we were hoping VIP would throw into their draft. And when you combine it with the Jinx and the Tarek, there is just so much protection for Jinx. I mean, unless Renekton comes in from a flank, Akali comes in for a flank, or if she gets hooked, those are really the only way that she dies. But if she can manage to get to 2 or 3 items, and the Tarek gets something like an Ardent or a Zeke's Convergence, or both maybe, this Jinx is going to be dealing a lot of damage, and she's got so much protection, right? There's the Cannon ult to stop the dive. There's the Stand United to keep her alive. Silas can even steal something like the Senna ultimate to even buff her up more. And Tarek's got the Cosmic Radiance to come down on top of all of that, so it's going to be very hard for the soul lanes of the Boba Boys to actually find windows to punish Jinx. And as long as Suman plays well, which I assume he will because this is a comfort champion, this should be, I'm going to say it's maybe game 2 going over to VIP. I really like what they've done with this draft.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there that this is a hard mountain to climb in team fights. Yes, Sumin cannot get caught out. they're putting a lot of pressure on their AD carry right now to carry the game out, assuming that nothing goes wrong. And if it's even game state, that's what, yeah, we're looking at Vipers to have the better team fight. But keeping in mind, right, on the other side, if that's a top cannon into the Renekton, decent counter pick. So all right, they've got a chance to maybe go even or break ahead in that lane. I'm looking at the mid lane right here as Akali. Once she gets to that level 6 point, she's going to have a little bit of kill pressure on the side of this, I feel, where, all right, she can shove in waves, right? It's an energy champ versus a mana-based champ. So, all right, Sai will be able to shove in this wave. He will be able to put a little bit of pressure down. And if that's the case and they can start bringing people to this bottom lane, Senna and Blitzcrank, although not heavy in damage initially, some of the best setups I think you can get for going for a gank or going for a 4-man dive.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's going to be hard for VIP to actually weather the storm in this early game, but the reward is just so immense. If they could get this Jinx to that Infinity Edge, to the Runons, to another crit item, probably Phantom Dancer in this game, they're going to be sitting pretty come, third, fourth Dragon. So keep an eye out for Remix to try and, find some ganks, find some counter ganks to stabilize this early game, to maybe snowball the Jinx, snowball the Sylas, and to get them ahead going into mid and late, because if they can actually get a foothold into this game, they should win. Because last game they were down 4,000 or 5,000 gold at the very early stages, and they fought hard to bring themselves back in this game, right? I mean, they fought tooth and nail to keep the game going until almost 35 minutes, despite being down 5,000 to 10,000 gold the entire game. So if they can actually go into mid game with a gold lead, and they play out fights the way they did last game, it should be easy.
I mean, forget the goal lead. If they can walk into mid game even,
Yeah,
I feel like they've got a great shot on the Vipers. I completely agree with that point of just this is a composition from Vipers that they just can't afford to fall behind early. And if they can do that this time around, if they can, Remix can somehow play around knowing that Dylan Wing is going to look to aggress onto him, and if they can shove their waves out or get priority where they need to, I 100% think that there is a possibility that VIP or Vipers is able to weather this storm, is able to start to pull it out. But that being said, I mean, last game we talked about it too, how they just needed to weather the storm, and Dylan Wang did not allow that. They put the pressure down. They put all of that just overall aggression onto the side of Vipers. And Boba Boys, they came to fight and they came to play, and we saw that in game 1.
Yeah, I completely agree. It should be a very exciting game too. The last thing that I want to highlight real quickly is that with the way that this draft panned out, Dylan opted for that Sylas over Remix picking Hecarim. So they swap the Shen over to the jungle, and they give Sylas his comfort into Akali. We need to see that matchup pan out. If Dylan falls behind this game, then their entire draft shift is going to be for nothing, because they shifted their entire game plan to give him a priority matchup, to give him something he wanted to play, and if he doesn't show up this game, it's going to look really bad.
It could look absolutely disastrous. But with that said, folks, we will be cutting to just a short little bit of a break. When we come back, we are on the rift between Team Boba Boys and the Vipers. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. All right, hello and welcome back here to game number 2 between Team Boba Boys and the Vipers in Risen's Dominate Pre-Made League. My name K-Tad, joining me Big D on the desk. And alrighty, we've got a game look at these level 1s.
Yeah, I like it. Getting active with Blitzcrank level 1, I do love this stack coming in from the red side. They predict there's an invade, but unfortunately, it's the wrong spot. Because if you were there, you have Shen Taunt, you have Taric Stun, it's probably a wipe. That is some of the strongest level 1 abilities that you can get in the game. It's probably just going to be a trade of vision, though. The Boba Boys are going to walk in, they're going to see nobody at this red buff, they're probably going to put a ward down, suspect, they're just going to get their off.
Yep. Pings come down from the side of Vipers saying that we've expected that, all right, if we haven't seen them here, there's probably a good chance they invaded us on the top side. So it looks like the rest of the squad just going to push around. There is actually a blanket. There's a couple dark spots on the map. So far, they do not have information as to what side of the map Remix is actually starting on.
Yep.
So they will know eventually, but still worth noting that if Remix chooses to full clear, they might not spot him at all off of all of this.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Remix getting that leash early on means he'll be ahead of Dylan in terms of clear speed, in terms of, gank potential. He will reach that level 3 faster. I'm interested to see what the Shen opts for. There's a few different ways you can go with the early game path. Wait. Oh, okay, a bit of an interesting lane swap here. Didn't see that one coming, but they put the Renekton mid, the favorable matchup into Sylas, and they put the Akali towards top. And I really like this because the Sylas wants that lane into Akali because he can kind of brawl with her a little bit easier. Renekton is just tough. Renekton buys Executioner's Calling, and the matchup becomes almost unplayable for Sylas. You lose every trade, whereas the Akali's just going to be able to farm for free up into that cannon. I really like what they did in this early.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like this so far, where it's an interesting lane swap scenario that buys them time, buys them the matchups that I think they're looking for. Because down in the bottom side, look at this damage. Stun gonna miss. Level 2 advantage is not really in favor of either one, but the trade advantage goes over to the side of the Boba Boys, as so far so good. Everything's so much according to plan right now. I do think as we see a full clear coming out from Dylan Wang, the aggression is not there this time around because I think he is not certain if he actually can win that 1v1 up against the Shen.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's opting into more of a full clear, but he's looking bottom. I do like
Oh,
this.
this might be
Blitzcrank
the
got the
cheese.
setup.
Yeah, hook is there. There goes the root onto the Tark. They're looking for some damage. Luxon wants to get it out. There's the slow flash over. TP gets canceled from the top side as it's first blood over to the Kane. Now in the mid lane, more dueling. Elcan getting D-Lun very, very low, but with no ignite, that won't be another kill. But all right, we talk about full clear, but it ends up being a level 2 cheese. There's the stun, there's the damage, and the flash. Elcan gets that kill with them. Suman almost got flash predicted, it felt like, from Ordinary there, but does not get the kill. It's 2-0 for the Boba Boys.
That's really bad because you don't want to see this Sylas fall behind, as I talked about before, and you especially don't want this Jinx Taric lane to fall behind. Shen looking for a little bit of, consolation in the top lane. It's going to be hard, though.
Oh, Remix gets the taunt, but here comes the instant TP from the Renekton that should keep him safe. As actually
Shen
the
might
taunt
die.
comes in. There's the Shen. Yeah, damage is there. Turtle Shell forced to hop back as well. The Renekton takes 2 turret shots, but now has to back himself. TP doesn't mean a whole lot, but it does keep his top laner alive.
Yeah, it is pretty crucial to try and protect the Akali there, because if she does go down, it is a little bit bad. It gives Vipers a little bit of breathing room. Ordinary's playing so aggressive, though.
Look at that hook. The root actually lands onto the wrong person, so Suman will get out of it for now, but Luxon putting down the hurt. That is just no fear Blitzcrank play, ladies and gentlemen. Ordinary walks in between the minions and says, "Fight me," and walks away.
He noticed that Suman had not taken a base yet, whereas, no, well, to be fair, his bot lane has not taken a base yet either, but they had that health advantage, they had that mana advantage. Su just walks up, takes an aggressive trade, buys him a little bit of time to shove in this bot lane and get a reset off. Jinx is stuck on Cole and Boots with no health potions going back into lane. She's going to miss a few of these minions as well. She's fallen behind, right? She's already down 10 CS. It might be to 5 CS at the end of this, but it's still looking pretty dire for the Jinx. We're going to have to see Remix, maybe D-Lun, come down there and try and equalize that lane.
Yeah, I mean, seeing where your Shen gets to 6 next, I think is a big thing. Knowing that, all right, he needs to get the stand united so that he can start making plays around the map. Because at that point, then, it doesn't matter where you have Remix on the map, right? That's the beauty of the River Shen, is that wherever somebody is in danger or is in trouble, call me, I'll be there. I can push R and he will join that fight. So far, though, it looks like they actually are going to start up the Dragon. So an early level 5.5 minutes, almost into the 6 minute mark. Remix and Clinique is all that they're gonna need, I think, to start up this dragon. Although Suman, little bit of a dangerous position as he could get caught out. Hook will land as now they're
Oh
gonna just try
no.
to burst him down. There's the root, there's the traps, but it's not gonna matter because the dragon is picked up. That's what Vipers wanted, and they got it.
Yeah, they got the dragon, but look at that bot wave. I mean, this Jinx is going to have to take another reset. She has no money to spend. She's got 300 in her pocket. Ooh, we might see her follow back up on that. Oh,
Oh,
she
wait.
does!
Hold on, actually, as
Oh,
Dylan
ha!
Wang comes in, he's chasing onto Clinique, gets a shot down, there's the stun, there's the taunt, will get some damage off, won't mean anything else other than stalling the back, but I think if you're Boba Boys, you're happy to kind of get this stall down.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the Boba boys are looking pretty solid here. Let me pan back over to that bot wave. Okay, I hate to sound like LS, but there was about 20 minions bot that Luxion cleared out for no real reason. She could have left that frozen, and obviously freezing against no sums Jinx is really good because Blitzcrank can walk up whenever he wants. I don't think anything will happen here, but yeah, Blitzcrank can walk up whenever he wants, look for any trade in the world. If he ever lands a knockup or a hook, she dies, but they give Jinx a little bit of breathing. They shove that lane back towards her. She's going to be able to collect that farm eventually. Kane's going into another full clear. Shen's going into another full clear. But Dylan is about to tick level 6, whereas Remix had just ticked level 5. He's down about 3 or 4 camps. It's looking pretty tough for Vipers right now.
Yeah, it is looking pretty tough. We talked about this in the early parts of the game. The need and the absolute, they had to survive this early game without giving over too much. And unfortunately for them, as it stands right now with the way the game is shaking out, they are not able to do so. Ordinary and Luxion has a lot of pressure down bot. Dylan Wang is just being an absolute menace like he's been all series long. And that is a potentially a problem because they need to get gold on the Jinx. They need to be able to team fight. And as of right now, it looks like they might find themselves in that weird bit of power trough a lot earlier than they would have liked.
Yeah, the saving grace is that they picked up that first dragon. While it may not mean a lot, just a single ocean drake, it does buy them time before they need to fight for any soul because this team just needs time to scale up. That's all they're looking at. They're looking at, how can we buy as much time as possible? And they found it, like they found an extra 5 minutes by sneaking away that dragon. They did end up, losing a couple summoners. They did end up almost losing a couple lives, but they get it, they get out, and this dragon is going to just buy them an extra time. Maybe Jinx can finish another item before, Soul. Maybe, the Silos can find, 2, 3 items. It's all just about buying time when you have a late game team composition. They did a good job of that with picking up first straight.
Yeah, they definitely did. They got themselves. I mean, and that's assuming too that on the other side for the Boba Boys that they were to do the next Drake on spawn, right? It still
Yep.
could be longer. As now on the top side, Dylan. Oh no, goodbye. Stan United's gonna come down, but it's not gonna matter. Sai and Dylan Wing have too much damage for you, my friend.
Yeah, and that Shen ult is at 3 minutes at this point in the game. Ooh,
Oh,
Blitzcrank
here we
walks up.
go. Yeah, Ordinary gonna miss the
Maybe a
hook
bit too
actually.
far.
Yeah, a little bit too far. Takes some damage, but it doesn't really look like Suman was sweating that one too much. He just said, all right, I know exactly what play you're going to go for, but if we stun you and I move a little bit to the right, it doesn't end up hurting us at all, and that's exactly how he gets out of that one.
Yeah, Remix losing that Stand United is
Oh,
pretty big.
Ordinary
Ordinary just
still
keeps
going.
going in. Oh, that's big.
Yeah. The root misses. Here comes TP around the backside. They're about to get flanked. Dawning Shadow not going to get the kill, but Ignite will, as in the mid lane. Turtle Shell manages to stall him out a little bit longer. Here comes Sai on the Akali, trying to get the kill onto Suman, but now it looks like he's going to force it back onto D-Lun. The mid laner got to get dropped again, and that means Sai picks up his second, and that is 5-0 on the board.
Yeah, the Boba boys just are seeming like the better team right now. Through a mix of individual misplays and, team compositional mistakes, we're seeing Vipers fall behind in areas where they shouldn't. And as a result, I mean, the Boba boys are just pressing all their advantages. Jinx is going to miss about 10, 15 minions down here. We're already seeing 26 minion lead down in the bot lane. That's translating to almost 1,000 gold. Shen has no ultimate to help in any of these fights. The only
Oh
thing
man.
that is really going right for them is that Ellen hasn't gotten a form yet. In a perfect world, he does have that form, but he's slowly getting towards it. But I mean, it's just looking really, really hard. They're down 3,000 gold again. I mean, we said going into this game they need to try and stabilize their early game and stem the bleeding, and they could just win this game so easy as it goes on, but they find themselves in yet another hole.
Yeah, another hole is exactly what I think they're looking at. It's a deficit that they need to come back from, as now we are seeing them rotating, I think, back into the originally assigned lane assignments with Sai and Dylan going up against each other, although granted in a different lane. But I think this has implications for that next fight because Sai does not have a TP, right? Dylan doesn't have one either. And actually, oh no, Remix in a bad spot does get hooked out of his shroud, and that means he is going to get dropped. And just like that, Infernal Dragon #1 going over to the side of the Boba Boys.
That's rough. That is
Oh,
really rough. Ooh, might be a
Turtle Shell
kill.
wants a kill. Yeah, actually, if he
Renekton
can
almost
land,
has ult.
he
Oh,
lands the shuriken, gets the stun, gets the repeat, and that means now Vipers are on the board. They lose the dragon and their jungler, but at least they have a kill here.
yeah, they
Oh,
get a
actually,
kill back. Oh,
Dylan
heavy
goes
trade
right
channel
back
coming
in.
in.
Yeah, Stand United going down, but there's the knockup onto Green Turtle Shell looking for the silence. There's the hook. There's the damage. They just wombo combo the Kennen down, and they get themselves a kill in the mid.
That is, I mean, I've never seen a Blitzcrank just constantly Wing forward, buys the mobility boots first. He's not really missing too many hooks, right? The ones that he's missed have just been, he's trying to predict a flash, we'll say that, but he's really on point with these hooks ordinary is, and great roam towards the mid lane, ends up shutting down Green Turtle Shell after he gets that kill. Looking for a stun. We just see, like, the Senna outranges it at this point. You have to punish it early on if you're ever going to punish it. Suman's just falling more and more behind. Luxion has no threat on her whatsoever. But the shining light of this team is Green Turbo Shell, right? He picks up that kill. We see that he's winning that 1v1 matchup against Renekton. And if they can keep that matchup going, which it looks like they won't be able to right now, if the lanes pan out how they are, it's looking hard for Green Turtle to really punish the Akali.
Yeah, and that's gonna be, I think, the thing right here is because yeah, if the Kennen Slicing Maelstrom becomes dangerous for the team to have to push through, then all right, they've got an opportunity. They've got a chance to get some damage down. And just look at that, he is putting work down onto Sai, but the rest of the team needs to be in a position to follow this up, right? I mean, we're looking at it here, 13 and a half minutes in. Suman, although yes, he has some gold in the pocket, he is nowhere near finishing his first item, and when you think about that, they obviously would like to get to that point as fast as possible, but it feels like they can't even take a fight for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there's no world where they can fight before maybe one item, probably two items, though. And I mean, when are we realistically looking at two items at around 22, 25 minutes? They're going to have to give up this Drake, give up the next Drake, and then maybe fight that soul point. Luckily for them, it is only Cloud Soul, right? Cloud Soul's not the kind of soul that's going to make or break the game in most instances, and I don't think that changes here. Dylan looking to go forward. That's rough.
He
But yeah,
just
I mean,
lists lazily to the left, but yeah, I completely agree with you, D, is that there's a timer on the compositions that Vipers likes to play in. They
yep.
just keep pushing it back.
Yeah, it's hard because it looks like maybe a four-man dive down towards the bot lane. The only way that I see them actually getting their foot back into this game is if they can really play that front-to-back style. If they can kite back with Taric, with Jinx, and then layer that Kennen Slicing Maelstrom on top of it. It's just looking really hard, though, because the two assassins that we were worried about, the Renekton, I mean, even the Kayn and the Akali, they're all getting gold, they're all getting fed, and Jinx hates to play against all these people. If they ever get on top of her and Taric's not there to save her, well, it's really hard. Jinx just instantly dies, so we have to see how that pans out as this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's still always that potential too of the triple dive coming out from the Kane, from the Cully, from the Renekton. A Cully and Kane with the Shadow and with the Shroud and with the ultimate, they become very scary divers. Is now on the top side. Elcan trying to do what he can against 2 versus 1, has to flash away from the taunt. The Chilling Smite is there, but it's also hit back with the Cutlass. Is now Dylan looking for the stun, will pick up the root, and that means he goes down. So another kill on the top side, this time onto the Silas.
That's big. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. This Silas needs to get a foothold into this game, needs to start getting some gold under his belt if they ever want him to be able to match a Kali, match Renekton. I don't really think he's ever going to be able to win against Renekton. I mean, especially if Elcan wises up and ends up buying an Executioner's Calling. Um, but if he's matching into a Kali right now, there's no way he wins. He needs probably another kill or two before that starts looking possible for him. And
Oh
ooh,
no.
no, Suman.
Suman has to flash away from the hook. He knew he was dead to rights on that one. Rough summoner to lose at this point because as the Jinx, you desperately need that.
Yeah, I mean, this Jinx having no flash. Would not be surprised to see Akali and Renekton, maybe even Kayn walk towards the spot site. Oh, she's caught out again.
Oh, here
That's
comes the
tough.
Stand United. Here comes the TP as well. It's around the backside. Taunt is there. Dawning Shadow will pick up the kill. But here comes Green Turtle Shell looking for the damage. D-Lun is there as well. It's a party
The
down in the
Terricle.
bot lane as actually the chilling, or just the damage actually. The Radiance is there. Remix trying to get the kill onto Renekton. They get the stun. Can they get the kill? The Shuriken from the backside. Taunt comes down as well. Sai is going to get dropped as he is forced to run out of this one. Another Shuriken, another stun. Damage comes across. They're not trying to figure out who's going to tank it, but the hook from downtown forces out the flash onto Turtle Shell, and they all retreat. But what a play. Wait a minute. Here comes a rocket. Not going to land, though. But actually,
Wait,
Dylan
Dylan.
Wing walked
Chain
into the
16.
wrong jungle. He gets shut down. Sai trying to turn around. Actually, here comes the Proto Belt from Turtle Shell looking for another Shuriken. Oh my god. He almost landed that one too. But that is a lot of kills. And now it's a Cloud Drake for the
Yeah.
side of Vipers.
I mean, this is the kind of a run back at game one. It seems like the Boba boys can get an early lead, but they don't know what to do with it, right? I mean, we see Luxion waste her flash there. She flashes away from a Shen who doesn't even taunt her, ends up dying to the Kennen ultimate coming in. Okay, there's the smite. A little bit worried for a second. But yeah, I mean, we see Luxion fall early on. She ends up using her ultimate aggressively rather than kind of defensively. Picks up a kill with it, but I mean, is that really worth it? And then as the fight pans out, we just see Green Turtle Shell putting in so much work. I'd love to see a damage chart pan out, but this guy was probably dealing the most damage in the entire game that fight, right? We saw Sai go in there with that Akali ultimate, get some damage down, but Green Turtle Shell is getting really fed, and he's starting to bully around this Renekton.
Yeah. Shout out to our producer, by the way, Gala. We definitely need that chart on stream right now, ASAP. As we look at this one, I know we're just joking over here, but yeah, that is a crazy fight, and now it's a crazy turn of events because it feels like Vipers has a window back into this game. They have been gifted the gold. They have been gifted the opportunity to buy themselves more time to scale or potentially even get to that point that we were talking about in Champ Select where they could be even going into a mid-game team fight, and then they are so scary if that's the case.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if this Jinx can get to one, preferably two more items safely, things are looking really good for the Vipers. Silas does manage to finish his first item, and Green Turtle just finished his second, right? I mean, that Morello is actually going to be doing some work against the Renekton. It's going to stop that Cole the Meek healing. It's going to stop a lot of that Senna healing. I mean, even Akali heals with that Gunblade and with her passive, so it's a pretty solid pickup coming in from him. He's going to be able to apply that to almost everyone in a team fight, assuming his ultimate is landing on multiple targets. Things are looking good for Vipers.
Yeah, so want to see what the Vipers can do with the opportunities they've been given as we're taking a look at some of these items. I mean, finally, worth noting, call finished by Sumen means he gets his first item under the belt. It's going to be that Infinity Edge like we would have expected. He is going to be getting some of those crits. Maybe a Hurricane next is what you'd expect out of the build from the Jinx, but then really, that's, I think, the first major power spike they're looking to complete as they want to get into the team fighting phase, because then Suman just has so much damage, so much wave clear, just the amount of DPS that a Jinx can put out at 2 items becomes a little bit scary.
Yeah,
And that, yeah, that's going to be something to watch. There's actually Herald summoned up top, standing the hit, it comes down, but it looks like they're just going to back away for now. Taunt going to land onto Dylan Waiting. He's forced to hop into Green Turtle Shell, but they drag him underneath the turret. But the turret is no longer there. Remix will pick up the first kill. Turtle Shell trying to stay alive, but here comes D-Lun.
Oh,
He's on the left
Silas?
side, picks up the Cully ultimate, as now he's going to look for the re-engage onto the Renekton. There it goes, and there's the kill. It's 2 for 1 in the top side, and I think Vipers are very happy with that.
Vipers are more than happy with that. Ordinary looking for the hook. Oh, he
Oh,
finds it!
another hook onto the Jinx. Here comes the Cosmic Radiance. They're trying to keep him alive for now. They want to turn around the team fight. But with no other cooldowns in the bank, they are just going to run away. Suman forced to run out. I don't think they know that Dawning Shadow was used, but they're just going to back out of vision.
Yeah, how many times have we seen Ordinary just walk up, pop that Blitzcrank W, and land a hook onto Suman? He's got to start, being a little bit more cautious about those, playing up a little too far forward. If the Taric is getting hooked, that's probably a good fight for them to take, right? Because the Jinx can safely hit from the backline. You've got the Zeeks coming in with that Cosmic Radiance. They might win that, right? But if Jinx is the one getting hooked, it ends up meaning they have to burn the Taric ultimate, they got to burn a couple summoners, and they barely get out of there and they lose the turret. But I mean, on the other side, D-Lun is finally delivering on the Silas. We were talking about it earlier. He needed to get something going. Ends up picking up 2 kills in the top side, and while he's not quite able to match Akali, I'd say, it's getting close, right? Another item, couple more kills, and he can actually start standing up to Sai. He can definitely stand up towards Elcan right now. I don't know. I mean, things are looking good for them. They're closing the gold lead. It's only 3,000 right now. Next dragon is spawning, and we'll see how this fight pans out. This is going to tell a lot about how this game's going to go.
Yeah, this next fight is going to be a major one because actually this puts Vipers at soul point if they can win the fight and get the kill. Sai walking into a little bit of trouble. Slow does connect, but it's not going to mean much from there as the rest of the squad is just rotating up. Okay, I'm curious where they're going because Dragon spawns in 15 seconds, guys. You might want to be down there in the Dragon Pit or at least getting priority as the rest of the squad now just shoving out the waves. But look at where Ordinary, the setup from the side of Boba Boys, they are trying to get the vision control down.
Yeah, Boba Boy's got some great wards down. There's a sweeper on Taric. Ends up popping that. They find that ward. Ooh. Blitzcrank's caught out.
Yeah, Blitzcrank in a bad spot. Ordinary taking a lot of damage. Dawning Shadow is there. Remix gets the taunt down as they go right down onto the Kane. Keep your eyes on the Jinx though. Suman forced the flash out. They actually miss the flash out from the Akali. There's the shutdown. He is just raining down fire from the right side of the fight. He's over the wall into the blue pit. That's exactly where you want to be. Stan United is there, but Luxia now joins in. It's a one-on-one of the 80 carries, and that means the Jinx will get dropped. But have they bought enough time on the left side? Green Turtle Shell still alive. Double kill for the Remix. And that means Luxian, the only man standing, has to try and burn out, but instead the flash is there, the root is there. Can he get the stun? It looks like he just needs one more, and that's gonna be the kill. It's an ace for Vipers, and they pull right ahead.
Yeah, that is absolutely crucial for them to pick up that fight. They put themselves on soul point here. There are a couple pings coming in. The solo laners do have TP, Akali. Okay, no, she's not looking. Ends up being the Cloud Dragon going over towards Vipers. Jinx gets a shutdown. I mean, she only got 1 kill in that fight, but it was a 600 gold kill going onto Akali. We see that Runon's ever closer to completing. It's just a few hundred gold away at this point. Green Turtle Shell is just doing so much for his team right now. I mean, he perfectly uses his ultimate to stun the Akali in her Shroud and end up... He just does so much damage to the Akali. Akali puts down her Shroud, thinks she's going to live, but she ends up taking about 2/3 of her life while invisible. And things are looking really good. I mean, D-Lun ends up, while he doesn't get a kill, he ends up, stealing a crucial ultimate, using that to their advantage. The Shen ultimate crucially coming out. Shen finds himself in the fog of war towards the blue buff, gets the ultimate down, stalls out that fight a little bit longer, gives Taric a little bit more health, and they pull out the fight win. I mean, this is crazy. They're down 4,000 gold going into that fight. They close it to 2,000. They're up 2 dragons. I think they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a composition like we talked about. One ahead has a great time, and I think the misplay from Sai there as well. Let's point that out. he missed the ability to hop over the blue wall to get onto Suman, right?
Yep.
Had that gone differently, I think that's a completely different fight we're looking at. And so it's really going to be, I feel, on the side of, oh, Dylan almost gets knocked up there. Wait, hold on. Okay, just said, never mind. They're just backing away. But I mean, it really does feel like it's the ability of Boba Boys as to how well and how quickly they can execute the dive onto the Jinx. Because if they mess up or if they're not fast enough, it doesn't matter because Suman will be able to stay alive and he'll be able to just win the fights outright for his team.
Yep. I mean, if this Jinx can stay alive and put out the damage, things are looking pretty dire for the side of the Boba Boys, and it's another game where they get them. Oh,
What
that's a
a
big
hook
hook.
from Ordinary. There goes the re-engage. Suman is down. Cosmic Radiance gets used, but it doesn't even matter because with that 80 carry dead,
Oh.
say goodbye to the mid lane turrets as the rest of the team gets to push up.
As soon as we start praising them, Jinx ends up eating probably what, the 6th, 7th hook of the game. It's really hard to play a protect the carry style composition when Jinx is constantly putting herself in positions to get exploited by Blitzcrank. I mean, that's the only thing Blitzcrank can do to make himself very relevant in these fights. I'm looking to just scare him off that tower. But yeah, I mean, unless Suman can find a way to start dodging those hooks, we have to see Clinic, we have to see Remix stand in front of her to tank those, because you're not going to win a fight if Jinx is dying instantly.
Yeah, I mean, without the 80 carry, it's a bad day for the rest of the squad. Hook goes wide, the engage goes wide. Is actually Dylan's in a little bit of a weird spot. Knockup's going to go on to Clinique, but everyone else is just going to back off. They know they don't want to fight this on both sides. Everyone just backs away for now. It's time to back and prep for that dragon that's about to be spawning in about 2 minutes.
Looking at the itemization in this game, we see Kennen go towards that Zhonya's Hourglass. Dylan just finished that Leandri's Torment. He's going to be able to do a little bit more damage towards these beefy targets. Though nobody really has all too much health stacked up right now. It feels like these people are just buying Leandri's for the sake of having it. It helps a little bit, but not crucial that either of the people that have it right now. Looking towards these 80 carries, we see Jinx finish that Runons with that latest base. She also has Executioner's Calling. Suman has the tools to carry these fights right now. Looks like the Ardent Sensor is coming in next for Clinique. Things are looking good for Suman. He has to start pumping out damage in these fights. About to have 2 supportive items buffing him up from the Taric. Dylan is going to be able to steal whatever ultimate suits the situation. And, I mean, almost every Shen ultimate has been used towards the Jinx. I would love to see them continue to be used there because Jinx's relevancy just boosts up as the game continues onward. I don't know. I mean, this next dragon is going to tell a lot. 50 seconds, there's no real setup for either team. Is Cloud Soul point? And Cloud Soul is big because it's going to be more ultimate cooldown reduction. It's going to be more move speed. And, I mean, for the likes of Silas, for the likes of Kennen, I mean, we're looking at a level 16 Kennen that's on the verge of getting a Cloud Soul. That's so scary for the Boba Boys to deal with.
Oh my god, yeah, just thinking about it, he pushes R and he already moves that quick. That is a dangerous maelstrom to have to deal with, but 22 seconds up, and it looks like Boba Boys have done the correct job of establishing vision control. Look at that river. It is completely dark on the side of Vipers. Ordinary pushing up, just trying to get more wards down, trying to get some positioning and priority. Looking for a TP ward for Psy right now, as they don't really have one just yet.
Yeah.
So it looks like for now, they're actually just going to be forced to back up a little bit and regroup on this left side because Vipers are grouping.
Ooh, there is actually one ward on the blue buff itself. I thought it was a blue trinket ward, but it isn't. So keep your eye out for that for Sai to TP into. Being channeled right now.
Yeah, TP coming down or on the back side. Here comes Elkan trying to get right onto Suman. And actually, they found the Maelstrom comes out. Can they keep him alive? No, the Jinx is gone. And that means the rest of the squad has to retreat. Ordinary pulls back. Here comes the Stand United onto the Kennen. Turtle Shell finds one onto the Blitz, but the Stand United is not going to finish. Remix gets the taunt onto the Renekton on the bottom side of the fight. But keep your eyes on Luxian. He's got the damage. Dylan will not be able to finish it off. Double kill for the Senna. Clinique going to get finished off by Dylan Wang. And just like that, Vipers lose their entire advantage off of a huge TP flank from the side of the Akali. Goodbye, Remix. Oh, yeah, goodbye.
Oh. I just don't really understand what their positioning was. You need the Taric to be sitting on Jinx at all times. I don't know who's miscommunicating there, but somebody is not talking to the other person. Tarek ends up being on the complete opposite side of the opposite side of the fight from the Jinx, and Jinx just gets blown up, right? I mean, the second that Akali can channel that perfect execution on you, you're dead. I mean, there's no real living through that. Ends up burning her flash as well. So Jinx's flash being down means that for the next about 4 minutes, she's just going to be a sitting duck for these two assassins. And I don't know. I mean, it feels like if they can play out a fight correctly, if they can identify what targets they need to focus down and how they should play out the skirmish, they should win. But I don't really think they know what they should be doing at this point, and that may be a fatal mistake. I mean, they're back down 5,000 gold. They lose their soul advantage. I don't know. It feels like a really big throw coming in for Vipers.
Yeah, game's not quite over yet, but I definitely agree that they had a lead. They had the ability. They had the game in their hands. Now it's about can they get it back? As oh, that hook almost lands onto Suman again. Almost another pick. So far the Blitzcrank is paying dividends for the squad, and I mean, taking a look at those completed items you were mentioning, they're all more or less there now. The sensor's coming in for the side of Clinique. He's almost got it. He's almost got the gold for it. They have the tools to keep Suman alive, but it just feels like they are not executing it well. And oh my god, are they about to start this Baron? I
Yeah,
think they are.
it's very bold, right? Because Kennen has teleport, has the Maelstrom, but Shen's bot. I mean, Shen has to stand united to join in the second this is spotted out.
Do they know?
We
Now
need to
they
see
know.
them come in. Wait, Kennen has a flank ward. Kennen has a flank ward. If they can bait them in, Kennen's walking back to TP. This could be huge for Vipers.
Now Vipers is looking for it. There's the slow from the Super Soaker from Dylan. They will not be able to do it right now as they are forced to back off for it. But actually now on the backside, it looks like they're not going to opt to start. Oh, they are!
Oh,
Ballsy call from the side of Vipers. They're going to start it knowing that Elcan has the TP in. There's the TP to the top side as they're all going to be forced into the pit. Now the rest of the squad going to go down. Redemption in the pit. Ordinary trying to get around. Can they get out to Suman?
watch
No,
out for
Cosmic
Jinx!
Radiance not able to finish channeling. And that means the Jinx is gone. The damage is there. The fight is in chaos. Dylan trying to do his best, but Remix is gone. It's a wipe from the Vipers in only trade for the Blitzcrank. Disaster in the pit.
That is... I don't know, man. Jinx has no flash and she's backing herself up into the pit. They don't really take account of where Renekton can teleport to, and he ends up just dashing in over the backside and finishing off Jinx before the Radiance comes down. I don't know. I mean, they had the setup. They opted to pull the trigger on the Baron. I like to see it. You know, it's a bold call, but it definitely has the potential to pan out. This is really looking like the Boba Boys are going to take it. I mean, this Baron buff seems almost insurmountable. They're splitting in 3 different lanes right now. They might even be able to take mid inhib. It's going to be a lot of gold in their pocket.
Man, this is pretty greedy, I will say, from the Boba Boys. Pushing 3 waves, 3 inhibitors all at the same time. Not caring. Oh, no, but that's a huge
Oh,
root onto
no.
Sifu, man. Sai just comes in, cleans them up.
That might be
That
it.
could potentially be the game off of that. They're trying to find whatever they can. Here comes Dylan trying to get the kill onto Sai, but he gets stunned up, looking to burn the Akali ultimate cannon. Green Turtle Shell has to put the team on his back. Maelstrom is not available, so he can't use it. Here comes the knock-up onto Remix. They're going to wipe him inside the base. Call it what you will. That is the GG for Team Boba Boys. They go up to 4-3.
Yeah, that is a huge win to pull off there. As we were talking about, these teams were both 3-3 going into this. So to get your spot in playoffs, you need to win this series. It's going to be very hard if you don't. Boba Boys feeling good, whereas, I don't know. I mean, the game was in their hands a couple of times in that game. Game 1 as well. I don't know. Game 1 was a little bit tough because they just fell so far behind and they didn't really have the comp to come back. But this game, they definitely had the tools. I mean, Green Turtle in both games played very well. Remix played pretty well himself, but Dylan opts for this Silas over Remix getting Hecarim, and it just does not pan out. I mean, 3, 8, and 5, not dealing all too much damage. Suman as well with the priority on the Jinx pick as well as the Taric, not panning out. I mean, only 10,000 damage dealt compared to Luxion dealing 22,000 damage. Just feels like a little bit of a bot lane diff this entire season.
Yeah, I mean, rough when you play these late game scaling compositions, right? Like we saw the idea from Vipers in both rounds. you are putting so much pressure on your AD carry, and I hate to say it, but yeah, things to be worked on, especially maybe go back to the drawing board if you're Suman. Maybe work on that a little bit more because these games were rough. They were the flank angles. It's granted, all right, let's not beat on the guy too hard because it is so hard to
Yep.
play around an Akali Renekton Kane. And the Blitzcrank, you add that into the mix. There is so much you have to be aware of. There's so much that you have to keep track of. But hey, this is a diamond, a diamond plat league. These are things you have to keep in mind. And if your team is going to opt into giving you these types of compositions, these types of plays, you either put up or shut up at that point, right? You have to execute on the carry. And unfortunately for Vipers, they just were not able to do that today.
I completely agree. I mean, Suman is one of the higher rated players in this league. It is capped at Diamond 2, I believe, and he's a Diamond 3 player. You would expect more of a performance in this series from him, but let's not spend too long harping on the losers. I mean, this is a beautiful game from the Boba Boys, and it was just a beautiful series. I mean, Sai played very well in both games. Game 1, he was on the Echo. Game 2, he was on the Akali. Two, AP assassins diving into backline. He just played super well in both games. He was a threat constantly to Suman. He was outlaning D-Lun, even when D-Lun had the lane matchups that he wanted. And for me, he's probably my MVP of the series just because he was just a stable rock that played well in both games, whereas other people kind of had shaky moments depending on the time. But just overall for the Boba Boys, a lot to look forward to as the season continues.
Yeah, definitely agree. Excited to see how they played out because these fast, aggressive play styles are pretty interesting to watch and a lot more entertaining, I think, than some of your standard things you look at. But with that said, well done to the Bobo Boys because that, like we said, that does bring them up to 4-3. So for those of you keeping track at home, keep in mind top four from your group make playoffs. And right now, sitting at the top of the standings, Arctic Ops, Excalibur Eternal, Glacial Esports, they're all at 5 wins or more. So Vipers, or I'm sorry, Boba Boys, absolutely needed this win if they're going to try and contest for that fourth slot or maybe even higher if they can pull it off as the season goes on.
Yeah, that is a very impressive win for them to pick up. Gives us a lot to look forward to as the season continues, and hopefully they do end up making playoffs because I feel like they could do some damage there. Sai seems like he's one of the better mid laners that I've seen in any of the stream matches. Luxion seemed pretty solid down in the bot lane. And Dylan Wang, I mean, although his aggression did bite him a couple times on the Kindred, maybe one or two times on the Kane, I like the aggression, right? It's way better to have an aggressive jungler, somebody. I mean, somebody like a blabberfish that will just never sees a fight that he doesn't like. If you, it's hard to teach that trait. So if you can have that trait just naturally, and then you can kind of tone down the aggression, maybe you know make them into a bit of a smarter player who just picks and chooses their fights wisely. It's really good. I mean, there's a lot of upside for this team, and I'm excited to see how they do.
Yeah, definitely excited to see what happens as the season pans out. But for those of us here on the broadcast team, that will close us out in Risen Premade Dominate week number 7. So, any final thoughts, Big D, before we are done for the night?
Nope, not too much. I mean, those were just fun games to watch, and thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, definitely want to say thanks to all of you for sticking with us in the chat. Stay tuned because later on tonight, I forget the time, but I do know it is tonight. The debut of Champs League is coming up, the next season of Champs. You guys don't want to miss that. The broadcast team is looking so stacked tonight for the rest of the team. So you guys want to check that out when they come online. But for all of us here on the broadcast team, myself, Big D, and obviously a huge shout out to our producer Gala in the background, making all of this look so dang nice and so dang clean for you guys. We want to say thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your rest of the day. Tune in for Champs League, and we'll see you next time. GG and good night.